I'm disappointed to find out that you are a bottom-tier woman, earning only $10,000 a year. I'm calling off the wedding.
On the morning of my wedding, I received a call from a man claiming to be my fiancé. Huh? This should be a mistake. My husband-to-be is right here, drinking coffee in front of me. Besides, my salary is not $10,000 a year. It's $10,000 a month, you know? When I replied with this, the man on the phone was at a loss for words and hung up. I had an idea of who the man might be and immediately contacted someone. I am Heather, a 29-year-old novelist. After graduating from university, I got a job as an editor at a well-known publishing company. I felt like I was living my dream when I was able to get a job at a publishing company that published a series of a novel that I had been reading since high school. However, I resigned after only 3 years, and I'm now writing my novels as a freelancer. Since becoming a freelancer, I have been able to write novels at my own pace without worrying about office hours or quotas. I am satisfied with my life, having achieved my long-cherished dream of publishing my own novel. Although I struggled before my work took off, I now feel that leaving that company was a good decision. However, there are complex and bitter reasons why I quit my job at the publishing company. There was this slightly troublesome male employee named Brand.
Hey, Heather. I was wondering, do you have a boyfriend?
I still remember it vividly when he talked to me for the first time. No, I don't.
How about me as a potential boyfriend for you? Want to exchange contact information and go out for a meal after work?
I felt annoyed by his persistent and overly familiar attitude. I'm sorry, but I'm at work right now. Despite my gentle refusal, Brand continued to insist on asking me out.
Alright, then see you after work.
I thought Brand was a troublesome guy, but since we only saw each other at work, I thought he was just teasing me.
You look nice as always, Heather.
His teasing remark was evidence that I wasn't his main target. I thought there was no real harm in his behavior and believed it was just a joke, so I let it go. One day, after work, I opened the door to the company's entrance and found Brand standing there.
Hey Heather, good work today.
Oh, thank you. As I tried to walk away quickly, Brand blocked my path and started talking to me.
Hey Heather, how do you come to work?
As he spoke, he followed me. I drive. With only that answer, I hurried toward to the company's parking lot. I thought he would give up once I got in my car and drove away, but he waved goodbye with a smile until I turned on the car's engine and drove off. However, the following day, and for a while after that, it was the same routine when I leave. This continued every day, and I became afraid to open the door to the exit on my way out of the building. Brand's been stalking me, you know. I couldn't bear it any longer, so I consulted with my colleague Nicole, who I occasionally go drinking with outside work. Nicole replied, "What? Really? Has he ever followed you to your house or touched you?" "No, he hasn't. I drive and he rides a bike, so he doesn't follow me to my house." "What does he want?" "But it's okay to leave him alone since there is no actual harm done, right? If something happened, just talk with your boss, okay?" I felt a little revealed after hearing her say that. That's right. Brand and I work in the same department, so I can immediately consult with my supervisor as anything happens. Although I tried not to mind it, Brand's approach continued. But since there was no actual harm, I couldn't consult with my supervisor. I continued to bear this dilemma for about 2 years, and my patience had reached its limit. With my older sister, a freelance writer's recommendation, I quit my job decisively. I then studied to become a novelist and gradually began to receive work. I had reached the period where my dream of publishing a novel was about to come true. Then, after a long time, I received a call from my former colleague Nicole. This call from her would later have a significant impact on my fate. "Hey Heather, has anything changed recently?" I had no idea what she was talking about with such a sudden and incomprehensible question. "What do you mean by changed? Is everything okay?" "I mean, have you been followed by someone or anything like that recently?" As she talked, thoughts of Brent from back then crossed my mind. But since resigning, I haven't had any contact with him at all. "Are you talking about that guy, Brent?" "Yeah, kinda. Actually, things have been getting dangerous with him lately." "What do you mean?" According to Nicole, Brent was freaking out when I suddenly quit my job. "He's been asking around the office for a long time, trying to find out where you work now." "That's really creepy. Does he know what I do or where I am?" "I don't think so, but the fact that he's been asking around so persistently and making people uncomfortable has made me worry about you." It's been 3 years since I left the company. But when I heard that Brand was still trying to track me down, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease creeping up my spine. I'm sorry, Heather. I thought I should tell you." And then, I told her something because she seemed so worried. "Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate your thoughts. I'm okay though. My fiancé will protect me, so everything will be fine." "Wait, what? Fiancé? Are you getting married?" "Yeah. I was meaning to call you about the wedding, actually. Will you come to my wedding next month?" "Oh my god, yes, of course. This is exciting." "Oh, by the way, Heather, just to be safe," I was on the verge of freaking out after hearing about Brent, but I managed to shift my mood by telling her about the wedding. My fiancé Eli has been a childhood friend since we were little, and we lived near each other. We used to play together almost every day when we were in elementary school. We grew apart a little during adolescence, but we reunited at a class reunion and started to hang out again. After that, we grew closer and developed feelings for each other, eventually deciding to get married. Our parents had been close friends since they were young, so the meeting was like a gathering of relatives. We completed the registration and moved into our new home. And before we knew it, the wedding day had arrived. "I'm nervous. How do I look?" "You look so handsome." I was playing around with my husband in the dressing room when my phone rang. "You are a bottom-tier woman with a salary of only $10,000 a year. I'm disappointed. We're canceling the wedding." "Who's this?" The caller claimed to be my fiancé. But my fiancé, soon to be my husband, was sitting in front of me, sipping his coffee. "The groom is right next to me. And my salary is not $10,000 a year. It's $10,000 a month." "Huh?" The man on the phone was stunned. I had known from the beginning who was on the other end of the line. It was Brent. "How did you get my number? And who told you about today's wedding?" I asked in a cold voice I had never used before. I'm your fiancé. So, I don't think it's weird to know." From the speakerphone on the smartphone that had been switched over, Brand's voice echoed. Eli started speaking for me. "Are you the guy who's been bothering Heather?" "Who are you?" "Who are you? Heather's cheating partner? I'll sue you." Brand seemed to have no faith in my fiancé and continued to argue. "I'm Heather's fiancé, Eli. So, who are you?" What are you talking about? I'm Heather's fiancé." The push and pull continued for a while until Brand finally confessed his actions. "I fell in love with Heather at first sight. But she had her guard up and wouldn't give me her contact information no matter how many times I asked. So I was planning on taking my time to get to know her. But leaving without saying anything to me, that's just cruel, Heather. As Brand revealed the truth, my fiancé Eli continued.
So, how did you find out Heather's contact information? And about the wedding today? I called every single one of Heather's acquaintances and finally got a classmate from my school days to tell me about it.
As Nicole had mentioned, Brand had been searching for me ever since I left the company. He went through all of our mutual acquaintances and finally got in touch with one of my classmates from college. Despite the fact that I had become a somewhat well-known novelist, anyone could easily have found out about my current situation with a quick search. However, the information he received about my income was clearly incorrect. His belief that he was my fiancé was already ridiculous enough, but his behavior was just too abnormal. I hung up the phone in frustration and immediately called someone else.
Oh my gosh. I understand. I'm coming over there right now.
The person on the phone was Brand's mother. According to Nicole, Brand had also stalked a few female classmates during their student days. At the time, his parents had apparently sensed something was wrong, but nothing serious had happened. It seemed that his parents were well aware of his abnormal behavior and thought process. Why don't you just call Brand's parents if something happens? I'll get the contact information for Brand's parents from a friend next time. I never imagined that Nicole's action at that time would actually be helpful. Despite the creepy phone call from Brand, our wedding proceeded smoothly. Then, towards the end, we heard shouting from outside the church. There, Brand was standing.
Brand, how many times do I have to tell you? You are an outsider. That's right, Brand. Don't mix up dreams and reality.
Brand was struggling against a middle-aged couple and shouting.
It's not a dream. My fiancé is here.
In the midst of this chaos, my real fiancé muttered quietly to me.
Really? You actually came?
And when Brand noticed me, he shouted at me.
Heather, clear up my parents' misunderstanding.
I was angry, as this happened during the climax of our wedding ceremony. What are you saying? You are the one with the misunderstanding. I'm not your fiancé. I'm going to be happy with this man. I coldly retorted to Brand, then returned to the church with Eli.
Heather, you were bothered by a troublesome person. You should have talked to me about it.
I smiled broadly at my father's words.
You should always consult those around you before something happens.
My father scolded me with parental concern, and somehow the wedding ended without incident. After a while, I received a message, an apology from Brand's parents. I didn't really care about the apology, but I was worried about what had happened to Brand. If he continued to be left unwatched, he might cause trouble for someone else, just like he did with me. My anxiety grew, so I decided to meet with Brand's parents.
Heather, I'm truly sorry for what our foolish son did to you. Please accept this as a token of our apology. Please. No, I can't.
I politely declined, but they insisted, so I decided to accept it. According to his parents, Brand had persistently followed and caused problems for at least 3 women in junior high, high school, and this time. In junior high, his parents dealt with the situation by placing him under protective supervision. But in high school, the female student who was a victim of his stalking remained silent and transferred to another school, so his stalking behavior was only discovered afterwards.
I thought he had learned his lesson. I never expected him to bother another woman.
Brand's father said with a resigned expression.
We've made him quit his job and entrusted him to our eldest son living in Africa. He will not be returning for a while. Please forget about our foolish son.
Brand's parents apologized deeply to me, and we left. I learned that his older brother, who works as a translator for a charity in Africa, was training him in various jobs under his supervision. When I returned home and saw the compensation money that I received from Brand's parents, I was shocked.
What? $20,000? This is too much. Shouldn't we return this?
As I was bewildered, my husband said,
I think it's okay to keep it. His parents have been manipulated by him for a long time. They were able to apologize to some of the victims, but not to all. Besides, he might be causing trouble for more people without us knowing. If you think about it that way, maybe it's better that you receive the sincere apology from them.
After hearing my husband's words, I reluctantly agreed. I knew for sure there were other women like me who had suffered from his sick behavior. As a final resolution, I decided to accept the money with an open heart. Although there were some ups and downs, my husband Eli and I were able to start a happy married life together. We never know what will happen in life. If we have children in the future, I hope to become parents who can sincerely apologize if our child does something wrong. I also hope to teach our children to have the awareness to apologize to others if they make a mistake. A few years after the incident, I wrote a novel based on Brand. The book became a big hit, not only domestically, but also internationally, incorporating elements of suspense, horror, and romance. I was thrilled to write it and received a lot of positive feedback from readers. And now I am considering making it into a series. While spending time with my beloved husband, I continue to pursue my writing. Although it may sound strange, thanks to Brand, I was able to try a new style of writing.